It has to be the most prolific author on Minnesota sports and sports in general.
No, stop, really.
Well, you've done 50 books.
Talk about a man. I got a man crush on this guy, right? He just writes these great sports books all the time.
I love Brett Favre. And then, of course, I hate Brett Favre.
Raising Stanley. This one's outstanding.
So I'm going to talk to you today about what it takes to become a champion, okay? I'm a sports author. I love what I do. I write about 3 new books a year, and I've interviewed thousands of professional athletes, and I've seen a lot of common denominators, traits, things that are unique among champions.
The champion's code is about you finding out what your code is, what your unspoken, unwritten rules are, and then applying them to the team so that everybody wins.
So I want you, and I'm challenging you to think about your code, okay? About your unspoken, unwritten rules, about what makes you unique, about what makes you a champion. I want you to think about morals and values and ethics and accountability. I want you to think about your reputation.
The thing that I like most about it is that he was willing to say there's many ways to motivate people. And I think that is something that is very helpful for people as they get into management.
Herb Brooks inspired me. There's a big difference between motivation and inspiration. I could motivate any one of you in the room right now. I could hold a knife to your throat and get you to do whatever I want you to do. But to inspire you, that's magic. That's Oprah material, right? Herb Brooks inspired me. I didn't ask for it. It just happened. So I decided to write a couple books. America's Coach, Remembering Herbie, create the Herb Brooks Foundation. Proudly, I'm now president of this wonderful organization that gives back to grow hockey. Because that was Herbie's passion, to grow hockey in Fairmont, and South Dakota, North Dakota, and Texas, and California. Get everyone drinking our Kool-Aid, because that's our passion. What's your passion? I don't care if you understand hockey. I want you to think about your passion.
I mean, I'm a big sports fan, and I think that he did a great job of using sports to really create life lessons for people and how they can live their life. And it's just amazing how you can connect those things from a business standpoint, leadership, personal. I really think that it hit all of our group, and they left learning something.
Being a champion in the world of sports isn't necessarily about winning championships. That's not what this is about. It's about doing the little things. Individuals win games. Teams win championships. Champions are all about playing the game the right way, with respect.
That's what's cool about sports, is that the message is universal. It doesn't matter what organization you're a part of. The message about how successful teams win championships or do things the right way on and off the field, how they represent their teams or communities, is universal.
As I've learned from my research, champions are internally driven to succeed, okay? And that starts with passion. Kirby Puckett. Kirby was my guy in Minnesota. There he is, Game 6, game-winning home run, World Series. Look at that smile on his face. You know the old cliche, find a job you love and never work a day in your life? You know the old cliche, first one to the office, last one to leave? That was Kirby. He was a gym rat. That's what they call him when they can't get rid of him. They just always want to hang out. I love hanging out with professional athletes because they're so incredibly passionate about what they do. Their whole life has been built to getting to the tip of the pyramid, right? To become the best of the best. You can't fake passion. I love hanging out with passionate people because they're so good at what they do.
It's a good, uplifting, positive thinking thing we can take home and try and motivate our salespeople.
The same things are successful about teams and winning championship teams that do things the right way with respect, is the same in business. And I think that's what's really rewarding, is to be able to have companies at the end go, okay, we get it. We're going to use this so that we can be more like a champion, whatever that is in their world.
Champions are givers, not takers. That's Wayne Gretzky. Full disclosure, I had a man crush on Wayne Gretzky as a child. I had posters in my room. I love this guy. Wayne's a giver, not a taker. He's the all-time leader in NHL history in goals and assists. But he's got twice as many assists than goals. Champions are givers, not takers. Wayne used to always say, a goal makes one guy happy. An assist makes 2 guys happy. My 9-year-old daughter scored her first hat trick this summer in soccer. That's 3 goals. She also had an assist. On the car ride home, I said, honey, I'm most proud of the assist. Because great passes come from the heart. Champions are givers, not takers. And champions, they're compassionate. That's Sarah Tukulski in the middle. Liz and Mallory there on the right. Captains for the Western Central Washington women's collegiate softball team. Big rivalry. Western Oregon, Central Washington. Playing in a big game a couple years ago. Sarah's up to bat, runners in second and third. She'd never hit a home run before, and she stepped up, big game, boom, hit her first dinger. She was so excited. Her teammates in second and third rounded the base. They're waiting for it at home. The dugout emptied. All of her teammates are there jumping up and down. They can't wait to celebrate. Sarah's rounding first, and she got a little excited, and she turned, and she blew her knee out. And it was bad. ACL, MCL, it's a train wreck. She's laying there in a heap and she's sobbing, and her coach comes over and says, we're going to pinch run for her. And the ump says, I'm sorry, you can't. It's against the rules. She'll be credited for a 2-run single. She touched first base. Well, can her teammates help her? I'm sorry, they can't. It's against the rules. And Sarah's laying there crying, and then Liz and Mallory came over and they said, hey, ump, is there anything in the rules that says we can't help her because she earned that home run? And he said, no. So they picked her up. And they took her over to second base and they lowered her down. And then they took her over to third base and they brought her home because she earned that home run. See, that's what champions do. They're compassionate. Champions work harder than everybody else. That's Tom Brady. Tom was the 199th overall pick of the 6th round of the 2000 draft. 31 teams passed on Tom Brady 6 times before the New England Patriots said, sure, we'll take a flyer on a backup quarterback from Michigan. You know how Tom Brady motivates himself? Every time he plays one of those 31 teams, he makes them pay. Tom Brady works harder than everybody else. He outworks them. This guy sleeps in the office. It's amazing. He's constantly breaking down film. He has a coach for everything. Nutritionist, a strength and conditioning coach, a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator. How many of you have a coach? You know, professional athletes spend 95% of their time working on the game. Only 5% is actually playing. How many of you have spent hours and days and weeks studying your competition on Google, really diving deep, because that's what they're doing all day. When you see them on Sunday, that's just the culmination of so much hard work. There's no substitute for work ethic. What makes you extraordinary as you think about your code, your unwritten, unspoken rules? What is it about you? For me, hey, new ideas. I just finished the World Series book. I got to interview a couple hundred World Series champions. Fun. I get to mine new content for my speeches, write new books. Fun. I love that process. Creates a franchise, like my code books, a commodity. This is why I have a new topic, I can go out and make a new speech. Cool. That's really interesting. Leads to new opportunities. Now, I did this book. One of the code books is really fun. It's about hockey fighting. Believe it or not, I am an expert in hockey fighting. Ray, are you a hockey nut? This guy's already raising his hand, Ray. Sorry, man. Yeah, that's fun. So we just turned this book into a movie with a guy who won an Academy Award. No kidding. I'm in it for like 30 seconds. It's great. These are new opportunities. I mean, I've had CBC satellite trucks rolling in my driveway. Ross, there's a big fight. Can you break it down for us? Okay. I mean, hey, you become an expert, you roll with it, right? Champions set goals and they visualize success. Just wrote this really cool book, Raising Stanley. Interviewed a couple hundred players, and the criteria, you had to have won the Stanley Cup to be in the book. So when I wrote the book, I interviewed a lot of players from the 2008 Detroit Red Wings. And I asked a lot of them, I said, were you surprised when you won the cup? And they said, absolutely not. It was our goal the first day of training camp. We're going to win the Stanley Cup. That goal was reinforced every day. They talked about it. They set down a game plan. People bought into whatever role they were going to do. And when they won it, it wasn't a shock. That was their expectation. You know, it's amazing. I speak to a lot of Fortune 100 companies, talk to their sales groups. And it's amazing how many of them don't have goals set every week, every month, every year. Champions set goals and they visualize success. And when they come true, it's not a shock.
Everyone assumes a role. It's like Jim Collins talks about in his book Good to Great, about who gets on the bus. Great leaders find out which people they want to have on their bus, who they got to get off their bus. And it's not just being on the bus. It's about finding which seat that person needs to be in, which role they're gonna do.
Coaches, your coaches, your leaders. Who gets seats in your bus? There's the key here, there's no one right way, okay? Whoever you choose to lead. See, great coaches, they understand how to motivate people. They understand which buttons to push on which people. Let's start with this guy, Vince Lombardi. Vince motivated through fear. Just wrote another book, the sequel to Raising Stanley, called Raising Lombardi. I talked to a lot of old Packers, Bart Starr, Paul Hornung, Jerry Kramer, and I want to know about Lombardi. 6 championships this guy won. Why? Vince was tough, okay? You wanted a seat in Vince's bus, you had to be a hard worker. But Vince was convinced of. They call them truths in sports, like you can't teach 7 feet in basketball. You can't teach a guy to run a 4.3 40 in football if he's really fast. You can't teach hard work. Vince recruited hard workers and figured he could get them to learn everything else. Eventually, everybody was drinking Vince's Kool-Aid, and they were dominant. But Vince, he wasn't your friend. He motivated through fear. He'd berate you, he'd catch you, he'd throw you into the bus. You didn't fit in, you were off the team. That's how he motivated. Now, for Mike Krzyzewski, the winningest coach of all time at Duke University, you want to get on Mike's bus, you better be a person of character. Socioeconomic background doesn't matter. Ethnicity, race, demographic doesn't matter. You better be a person of character. Some people call Mike an elite snob. So be it. He's the winningest coach of all time. In hockey, you got to be accountable. Accountability. That's Stu Grimson, the Grim Reaper. See, they don't let you wear face masks in hockey for a reason. Because if you do something dirty, if you cheap shot someone, you hit a guy from behind, do something filthy, a guy like Stu is going to come off the bench, he's going to challenge you to a fight. And that's why you have no face mask, you can't hide. You got to take your medicine a little bit there, don't you? You might lose some teeth, but you'll learn a very valuable lesson about how to play the game with respect, the right way. Now, what's interesting about Stu is he's also an ordained minister, so when he beats the crap out of you, it's coming from a higher cause, which is really fascinating. But he forces you to be accountable, just like the IRS does or anyone else. Accountability. See, hockey, you got to show up. Very important. If you're 5'8" and some 6'8" dude runs into your goalie, you drop the mitts and you start throwing haymakers, and you hope to God your teammates get there quick. That's how it is. It's one for all and all for one. If you're 5'8" like Ray Ferraro, Ray used to tell me that whenever there's a bench clearing brawl, he was the first guy off the bench. You know why? He wanted to find another little guy. Otherwise, some huge guy was going to ragdoll him all over the ice. You got to be courageous. And champions, they know how to have fun. Because life is too stinking short. That's Gordie Howe in the middle. Gordie was 52 years old when they took this picture. And here he is playing on the Howe line. The old WHA Houston Aeros. This wasn't a gimmick. Those are his two sons, Mark and Marty. I tell you what, if you mess with one of his kids, you were getting that elbow too. Gordie did not want you messing with those guys. He said that was the most fun he ever had. 52 years old. He was MVP of the league. You know what? Age is just a number. That's Lou Vittori. Lou's 100. He kicks it old school as a competitive skier in upstate Michigan. And guess what? He wins every race he competes in too. You know why? Nobody else in his age group. How cool is that? Age is just a number. What don't you think about your legacy? There's my hero, my mentor, Herb Brooks, architect of the fabled Miracle on Ice hockey team in 1980 when they beat the Soviets, the greatest achievement in the history of modern sports. And I want you to look at that picture in the middle, and there's a poet, her name is Linda Ellis, and she talks about the dash. Maybe you've heard of it, and you know, it just really rings true with me. And I want you to think about why you're here. Think about your passion and why you do what you do, and I want you to look at that. See, we've all got that number on the left, right? The year we were born. And for Herbie, it was August 11, 2003. That day it's coming, and all you get is that little line in between. Did you matter? Did you make a difference? Is there going to be a guy on the stage someday talking about you and what you've done? Think about your legacy. Thanks for being here. Have a great rest of the conference.